Welcome. It's great to have you. Lots of people have been asking me about an indicator that I use on TradingView. The indicator is called VPVR. It stands for volume profile and volume range. The indicator itself that I use is VRVP. It's the same thing, volume range, volume profile, just a different organization of the letters in the acronym. But it's a very precise tool that helps us sort of determine areas that you can see two things: moves and chop. A move is considered to be the fast movement. It's the meat, right, of a stock going up or down. And chop is considered to be consolidation. It's the sideways bullshit, right? VPVR, or volume profile, volume range, can help you find these levels. But to first understand that, we have to understand what it actually means, right? So when you think about volume, typically it's on an x-axis. So if this was a chart, this would be the x-axis down here. This would be the y. And the x-axis is typically where we measure volume, right? Volume will be up here. You can see it go higher. It'll go lower. It'll drop off. It'll get higher. It'll get lower. It'll drop off. It'll get higher, right? And this is the way that we can measure volume over a specific period of time, right? The x-axis measures time. We know this because as stocks trade on the X and Y axis, as time passes, it goes right. This is one thing we know with certainty about stocks, is that they'll go right. We don't know if they'll go up, we don't know if they'll go down, but we know they'll go right because time will continue to pass as it always does. So if X is measuring the time axis, right? X axis is time, then Y represents price, right? The y-axis tells us how much a stock is worth. This is your dollar sign, right? So when a stock goes up and down as it's passing time, right, you see it represents on the price line, okay? We can do that. So if we measure volume on the x-axis, which represents time, what we're measuring is volume over time. There's another axis where we can measure volume, though, and that's the y-axis. So if we know that y equals price, then if we measure volume on the y-axis, we're measuring volume over price. And this is significant because what it can tell us is areas in which there is a lot of net buying and or selling that has taken place over a prolonged period of time. And it shows itself as this. You have increases, little drop-offs in pockets, huge freaking increases, right? And all of these things tell us whether or not you can expect one of two things, right? Chop and a move. Typically, when you have high volume density areas, sometimes these are referred to as volume shelves because they look like shelves, right? It's just a very high density area in which you've seen a lot of net accumulation and distribution. You have chop. Why would you have chop? Well, because these act as quote unquote supply and demand zones. They tie in pretty well, right? Supply and demand zones are typically areas where you expect a lot of chop and a lot of difficulty getting through specific zones, whereas the move typically takes place in pockets. This would be considered a pocket, right? I'm going to highlight this in green. Down here is a pocket, and this acts as a speed zone. Why would that act as a speed zone? Well, because there's not a lot of established net longs and net shorts to crunch through. If you think about it psychologically speaking, right? VRVP, which is volume range, volume profile, is showing you areas in which, historically speaking, buyers and sellers fight. They play tug of war versus areas in which buyers or sellers win. And a win is considered to be the move. So now I'm going to show you this on a firm. I've got VRVP over here on the right side of my screen. This is the y-axis. Down here is volume on the x-axis. So here we have the measurement of volume over price, right? What you're going to notice is there's a red line. This red line is the last piece that I have to add about volume range, volume profile. And what this represents is the point of control, which is typically acronymed as POC. What the point of control is telling you and what it represents is the point in which you have the most density of volume. Most density of volume. Typically, this is where you're going to see the maximum amount of chop, and it also acts as a breakout level, both up and down. Typically, when you break beneath this or you break above it, you're going to see a pretty decent sized move, i.e., we broke beneath the volume point of control, the volume profile point of control, and you had a huge push down. When you broke above the point of control, you had a huge push up. This just represents the most volume dense area on the chart, right? So if we were to look at a firm, which is ticker symbol AFRM, you're going to see here's a very dense area of volume. Here you've got a pocket. Here you've got a pocket. Here you've got a pocket. Here you've got some density. You got some density, right? And if you were to compare this to the chart and sort of what it represents, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to drop a box and I'm going to show you how price respects this zone, all right? So here it connects and we're going to pull it out. We're going to pull out this little box and show you typically how prices reacted in this range. What you're going to notice is every candle that touches here has been a speed move. These are daily candles. If I pull this out, you're going to see, hey, look, it was a net move down, not chop. You're not chopping around, right? You don't have daily candles like here, which is just chopping wood, chopping wood, chopping wood, chopping wood, chopping wood. It's a very quick move, right? This is chopping wood. This is a directional move, right? It's not consolidation. Lines up. Same here, and you got a rejection here. Now let's look at a very highly dense area. I'm going to change the color of the box to green, which lines up with VRVP, volume profile, volume range. You line this up, change the color. All right, I'm going to change this to green, and we'll line it up. What you're going to notice is that these are zones in which stock price typically chops around. Lots and lots and lots of range trading. So how can you use this? Why even go on this long rant? Why go on about how volume range, volume profile is useful? It's because it can be a preemptive tool that shows you areas in which you can expect to make a meat of a move. Now, one thing that we know about trading is that we like to capture the move. We don't like to capture the consolidation. We don't like consolidation. Why? Because consolidation is fighting time, and time equals theta decay, and theta decay equals you're getting finger blasted in the fucking ass. And we don't want to get finger blasted in the ass. That's not a lot of fun. So it's a tool, right? Measurement of volume over the y-axis can tell you spots in which you can expect speed alongside consolidation. And that's basically it. So if you know how supply and demand zones work, right? Supply and demand zones are able to do what they do because of volume profiles. And I suppose that's about it.